So Tony helps companies creating user-friendly financial models using the modern power tools in Excel and Power BI, and has developed hundreds of models since the advent of commercial spreadsheets in 1985. He teaches his own nuts and bolts materials based on more than 40 years of work experience as in-house courses and public courses worldwide in English, Dutch, and German. Tony writes the monthly Excel blog for the Dutch Controllers magazine since 2005, and he's the founder of annual events such as Excel Experience Day, Excel Experts Class, Excel Summer Boost, and Amsterdam Excel BI Summit. There we go. And if you're ready, Tony, I'll hand over to you now.
Well, thank you very much, Oscar, and thank you very much for inviting me, you guys, from Sun Product. You did a very good job, and welcome from me here. I'm calling in from the city of The Hague, which is here in Scheveningen, right at the beach. This is where I live. And well, we've heard a lot of sessions today. Some of them were technical, some were a bit more user-driven, some were actually more for professionals. Well, my session basically deals about doing a fast job in Excel when you're working in accounting, finance, business, a lot of reports that you want to make. And I want to show you how you can use, let's say, the modern tools in Excel, which is Power Query, dynamic arrays. And I'll show you that based on some practical examples, because that really speaks more to the mind. If you have any questions, you can always put your questions on the chat box, or maybe wait until the end. I can answer your questions. So, range names in Power Query. The first practical example I have for you guys is this one here. You can see my project screen over here. Okay, I'm typing now. I'm choosing a formula define name. You see my pop-up window now. So I'm going to type now here project data. And well, it refers to, I'm going to type here my offset function. So it's OFF, open brackets. And it always starts at the leftmost corner of my table, which will be B3. Then semicolon, or you type a comma. And then how many rows do I want to go down below? I don't want to go down below. So it'll be 0 rows. Okay. How many columns do I want to go to the right-hand side? I don't want to go to the right-hand side. It will be 0 columns to the right-hand side. Okay, so what is the height of the table? Well, I don't know. There's a function called count A, count your arguments, count A. Let's say for the whole column C, closing brackets, okay. The last argument is what is the width of the table? I don't know, but count A, count the arguments of the row number 3 in this case. Can tell me what the total arguments are. And then closing brackets again to close the offset function. Click on OK. Well, my pop-up window is gone. What happened now? Let's go check here under Name Manager. Well, there's my project data. And we see indeed where it says refers to, I see my formula, my function in capital letters. Offset is in capital letters, count A is in capital letters. So it has accepted the formula as such. What I can do is to check out if it is correct. I can just click with my mouse in this refers to window, click, and you see what now happens. The answer running around the table, which means it has picked up this area. Close. So next time, if I'm entering some new projects, it will also then know what the new range name will be. Now, this range name we can use in Power Query. How so? Well, we select data, get data from other sources, and then we go into the blank query. So now it will go to the Power Query world, and it's blinking here in the formula bar, and there you're going to type $, and use the Excel.workbook function or statement. Excel, you type Excel, and you see Excel.current_workbook. That's the one that we want to need. And then opening brackets, closing brackets, enter. So now it comes up with the table which is called project data. Well, that's the one that I want. I'm going to open up the contents. I don't want to use the original name. Okay. And there we see my table with project names, etc. Let's have a look at, yes, everything comes in. Well, we don't need to have the last column, we don't need it. So let's get rid of the last column, right click, remove. And now, obviously, we want to have the first row as a header. So we can do transform, use first row as header. And now the headers are there. And now we can use our magic and pivot other data. Therefore, you have to click on the project column, right click, and pivot other columns. Wow. Well, this you cannot do in native Excel. You can only do that in Power Query. Where it says attributes, that will be my date. And we have to be careful because these data are coming from the Netherlands, so we have a different date system here. We start with the day, month, and year. In the United States of America is, of course, the other way around. You start with the month, day, and the year. Now, in this case, first of all, I'm going to change this here into date time. And then I'm going to click over here and say using local. And the date type is not text, it will be date. And the date originates from Dutch Netherlands. Press OK. So now it finds the date. Now the value will be my amount, for example, amount. And there we have it. I'm going to say home, close and load to dot dot dot. And if you want, we can create a pivot table report in a new worksheet. And then we can select the projects and the amounts. And if you want, we can even make a nice design. And right click over here. Have the number format correctly display the numbers in euros, for example. And we want to have report layout and tabler form. And maybe want to have a slicer, which is a timeline for the dates. And there we have it. And I can select dates like so. Or if you don't want to have the slices, maybe you don't want to have it like that, you can also change your pivot table and bring the dates over here into the columns, for example, and it looks like that. Don't want to see the quarters. You can open it here and you get the same table back. So there you go. So that's a trick when using Power Query on tables that you don't want to convert into real tables. You use this offset function. Okay, though. So now let's go to my other example. And the other example is a map, a world map. Now this world map here has a table, which is indeed an Excel table in this case. You can see table design is called data sales. It has some regions in there, some countries, and some sales. Now, what we want to achieve is the following. We would be able to select a region, for example, Asia or Europe, and then it will show the map. Wow, how did we get there? What do we need to do for that to happen? Well, first of all, this cell, this yellow cell, where I put the name of the region, I give the name. The name here is called region. So the range name is called region. So cell J1 is called region. And then in column E, I'm going to build a formula. And the formula basically tells me like if the region over here, the cell over here, must equal the region over there. So if it's true, then it will tell me it's true. But if it's not true, it will tell me it's false. In this case, we've selected Europe, so we see in this case all the records for Europe are being true in this case, and the rest are false. So it's very simple for me to tell the formula, this cell should equal this cell. That's it, that's all. No. Then we get like this regions thing here, a selection list. How do I get the selection list of the regions over here? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's the power of the dynamic array formulas. By using the unique function, I will get to see and that unique range, all the unique regions here, and then sorted in alphabetical order. So by using sort and unique together, we'll see a list of all the regions in alphabetical order. And yeah, so if we have more regions coming up, it will automatically change here without any updating whatsoever. I mean, if you have Power Query behind the scenes, you always have to do like data refresh all. Here you don't have to use any data refresh whatsoever. It's there already. Now, so how do I get then this helper table in here, country and sales? Well, it's the filter function. With the filter function, we tell the system the following. The array that we want to look at is pick the columns country and sales from the data sales table and include everything where data sales selection equals true. So in this case, we have selected Europe, so we'll only see the Europe records updating over here, showing the appropriate countries and the appropriate sales. And that's it actually. And we also built a data validation list over here. So when we go to data validation, you see the data validation, we allow a list. And the source, look at this, is just G4 hashtag, meaning start with G4 and every other record down below that you will find will be part of my data validation list. This is really nice. So you can even have a dynamic selection method in the data validation without worrying if we have new regions that I have to extend my range. It's done automatically. Now, and then how's this map being displayed? Well, basically, we create a map chart. Is like insert, and then we go to map. It's this map over there. And there you have it. I position it over here, and then we can make selections by different regions, Asia, for example, and it will change automatically. Of course, for this to happen, you have to have a Wi-Fi connection, because otherwise it will not work. So this is really nice. In any case, how many formulas did we create? This is the one for the selection. And then we create another one for sort unique, one filter. And that's the end of the story. Actually, we create only 3 formulas, as you can see, to drive this nice dynamic dashboard showing the map. Okie doke. Let's go to the next example. Now, this example over here is what we see happening with lending companies at the end of the month. We have to see what the costs are for our external contractors. For example, we have a list or a table in this case of our external contractors. So here's the table. It's indeed a table. It's called master data, very properly. We see the name of the contractors here, what their hourly rate are, when do they start the contract, when will they end the contract, and the duration in months. Well, the duration in months, probably you don't know, but there's a function called daydiff. You cannot find it really in the list of available functions. It's a hidden function in Excel, but with daydiff, you can basically calculate the difference in months. So you have to start then with the start date. It's the first argument. Second argument is then the end date. And then the last argument you have to put between quotation marks, big letter M, show the difference in months. If I put in a year, it will also calculate the numbers of years between 2 dates, but here we want to see the months, so there we have the months. Of course, we can have new items coming along, change hourly date, etc. Now, at the end of the story, what we would like to achieve is the following. We would like to allocate the amounts for the next coming months. So this is something that accountant is always looking for, like, okay, can you show me some breakdown and allocation of the amounts for the next coming months? So if you are starting in the input month 1 of 2022, what will be the different costs then by time months, so to speak? Well, if I'm going now starting from month number 3, it will select automatically month number 3. So I'll start with month 22, and going over to the next month automatically. So how did we get all of this here working properly and automatically? Well, it will show you step by step. First of all, I'm going to create here an input year where I can put in my year and an input month. I have to even give the name. The name of the cell is called input year, and the name of the cell is called input month. Then I'm going to create this header over here, name, hourly rate, etc. Just can copy it from the table. And here I'm going to use my, what did I do over there? Basically, it's nothing more than picking up the data from my table. It tells me is master data name. How does is equal sign? Go to the master data. Click on the edge over here, and then it will give you the name of the table, which is master data, and between brackets, the name of the header. And when you just press enter, you will see it will come up with all the names of the records automatically. This is also part of a dynamic array, as you can see from the blue lines. The blue lines indicates that we are talking about here a dynamic array. So very simple formula, just using your mouse. So this is the same story. I type equal sign, I go to the master data, I click on the edge, which is over here, not over here, but just over here. It changes in the black arrow. When you click over there, it will pick up every record from C4 until C23. And then it's displayed as master data, the name of the table, and then between square brackets, the name of the header. When you press enter, it will show you all the hour rates. The same story I did with the start date, the end date. So this is nothing more than basically a repetition of what is in the table. Okay, then I have to prepare some stuff over here, which is the sequence. Now, sequence shows me 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. This is a dynamic array formula. What does this sequence formula tell me? Well, click on the FX. Always click on the FX if you don't know what it is. It will help you to understand what the formula does. The sequence formula tells me, okay, I want to create a row, one row. How many columns? 12. Okay, 12 columns. And start with number 0, and then go one step further. And then it results in 0, 1, 2, 3, until 12, which is nice. This is nothing more than a reference header, which I can basically attach to all the other formulas that I'm going to create to make them also very dynamic. That's the only purpose of the sequence function over here. Now, when I'm talking about my first month, which consists of the start and end date, the start date can be found by using this formula over here, which is also a dynamic formula. Because if you go to the next cell, it's the same formula, but that's a bit grayed out. So the real formula is standing here in F5. So how does this work? We say, okay, use the date function again. The year can be found in the cell input year, which is this yellow cell, G2. The month can be found in the other yellow cell, which is J2, which is the number 3. So that's the month number 3. Plus F4, plus a 0. Aha. hashtag, which means now it becomes dynamic as well. And the day is 1. And you have to do it. So the condition is times F4 hashtag must be greater than 0. So do that in this case, and then it will also spread out to the next cells automatically. Wow. What about the end date then? Well, the end date is more or less the same story. It will pick up basically the year from cell F5, month at F5, plus 1 to get into the next month. And the day, that's the trick of it, the day must be 0. When you enter day 0, you always get into the last day of that month. And that's automatically spread out over the next coming columns as well. Very simple. Now we want to know the number of working days. We use the function net work days. Maybe if you don't know this function, but if you click on fx, the net work days will calculate the net working days between the start date and an end date. In this case, between F5, start date over here, and the end date over there. And to make it flexible, so that's going to be copied all the way to the right-hand side, we have to tell the following condition times the condition that F4 hashtag must be greater than 0, and then it will automatically spread out over the next coming columns. Then I can derive what the number of hours are, which is F7, the number of working days. Watch the hashtag, it means it becomes dynamic as well, times 8. And there we go. See, so that's the trick of it, to make it automatically copying to or spreading out to the right-hand side. You have to use a helper row, so to speak, that can attach them the dependent formulas onto that row. Now this one is nothing more than equals F6. So this cell is put to this one. So it's basically the same story. Automatically copy to the right-hand side. Now comes the big trick. We want to know, of course, how many euros, in this case, can then be allocated to the month of March, in this case, for this particular person here. Well, this, ladies and gentlemen, is just one formula. All the other formulas are basically grayed out because the real formula is standing here only in cell F11, and you don't have to copy it all the way to the right-hand side or down below. So it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions times my hours times my hourly rate. That's actually what the formula does. And one of the conditions, for example, here, make it a bit bigger, you can see what it says over here. So in this case, we say that the start date here, hashtag, or the hashtag, otherwise it will not be copied all the way to the right-hand side, and down below must be greater than, for example, the start date here in the first item here, and that the start date of this column must be less than the end date of the contract, and so it goes on. The end date of the column here must be less than the start date here, etc. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions, and if they're all true, it's 1 times 1 times 1 times 1 times F8, which is my hours, times C11, which is my hourly rate. As you can see, once you start working with the hashtag numbers, hashtag notation, I would say, you don't need to use any $signs anymore. So the hashtag means making it also flexible, going to the right-hand side, going downwards, but it can only work if we have, of course, if we are referring to rows and columns that are also dynamic of its nature. If it's not dynamic, it will not copy it all the way to the right-hand side or down below. So this is really nice. And if people have new items coming along, they have to only update this table here. And then when you come back to the allocation, you don't have to refresh anything. The table is done automatically there for you. So that's really interesting to watch that this is going to be possible. Okay, so now I'm going to another topic, and the topic has to do with actual and budget. I've been asked it many times again to show that option here. In this case, we have here a table called actual. And as you can see, it's a download from our ERP system, so to speak. It has a name here. The name is called data actual. And yeah, okay. It's a long table. Then we have the budget over here, which is on a higher level. So as you can see, it's also not on a long table. It's like a pivot table. So we only have turnover here. While under actual, we had turnover Europe, USA, Africa, etc., Asia. So there's more detailed levels on account number level, while the budget's on a higher level. Okay, this is called data budget. And then we also have the chart of accounts, which shows us the relationship between account number, account description, and the level, the higher level. Sure. And then we have another helper table, shows us the level with the order and sequence, and then whether it's a profit or loss account or whether it's a balance sheet account, and if it's what is assigned, because turnover has been booked as a credit item here in actual, so it shows a minus, so we can probably use this minus here, -1 here to make this positive again. So our task now is, how can we create a one all-encompassing report that shows me actual versus budget? And of course, I should also be able to select by date, by month in this case. Well, if you have to do it in Excel, native Excel it is, yeah, it's a lot of work. Then you have to probably build some columns over here. What is the level? You have to fetch it by using XLOOKUP or VLOOKUP, fetching the sign, and then do lots of work over here, and then probably do a summarization by account number or by level. And then we have two tables, and then, well, you can see already how much work that is if you have to do maybe in the old-fashioned way, so to speak. Luckily enough, Power Query is there to help us. Now, I can show you, actually, there are two methods. You can do the method by just using Power Query. You can also use the method using Power Query and Power Pivot. And well, maybe I'll show you now first then both methods. Well, I think we still have time, so we can show you that. In this case, I'm going to start with a blank workbook. So I'm going to start with a blank workbook, Control N, and I'm going to fetch that data then. So there's a blank workbook. I'm going to fetch the data, get data from file from Excel workbook, and let's pick up the data here. It's the one, yeah. Import. And as you can see, we are now presented with a table or a pop-up box with 8 items. Well, of course, you can see the ones with the blue ribbon. Those are my actual tables. The ones without the blue ribbons are my sheets. We should not import all of them. We should then either select the sheets or select the tables. In this case, it's better to select the tables because they're already identified as a whole set of data that are going together. So in this case, I'm going to select multiple items, select data actual, the data budget, the data chart of accounts, and the data level, and then I'm going to click on transform your data. Transform your data. And now I'm going to be brought over automatically to Power Query. So here I am in Power Query. As you can see on the left-hand side, here are my 4 tables, my 4 queries. And in the middle, I can see my data actual. And on the right-hand side, the system Power Query has already done some steps for me. Now let's have a look at data actual. As you can see, we see the account number, account description, the date and amount. However, we need to fetch actually also what the level, corresponding level is for each account number. That information can be found in data COAN, data chart of accounts. So in this case, I have to do home, combine, merge queries. Merge queries. So my data actually is a transaction table. I'm going to fetch my data from a master table, which is my data chart of accounts. Here it is. Now this level down below, that's the one I'm looking for. That's the one I want to have in my data actual as well. We can have it there, but only under condition that we should find a column in my data actual that talks to another column of the same sort and nature, a data chart of accounts. And that column, of course, is my account number. So this account number over here, click. Talks to this account number over here, click. Now, mind you, the name of the header doesn't have to be the same. It could be a different name, as long as the contents are the same. We're going to build a what's called a left outer join, and the selection matches. So I'm going to proceed with OK. And there it is. The column comes in, data chart of accounts. Let's click on the double arrow to see what the contents of the table are. And we can see account number. Well, let's get rid of everything now. So I only want to bring in my level. And there it is. Here's my level. Wow. In Excel, probably I had to use VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP to find the corresponding level data. But I'm not yet there yet. I also need to have data from the data level. I want to pick up, for example, the type and the sign. That's the information I also want to have in my data actual. So again, I'm going to select home, combine, merge queries, and I'm going to select the data from the data level. In this case, this level over here talks to this level over here. Selection matches, that's fine. Click OK. Now we open the window, the double arrow here. Let's get rid of all the checkmark boxes. And I want to see my type and my sign. Press OK. So there they are. Two other columns again. In Excel, I had to do VLOOKUP again or XLOOKUP. Now, for our confrontation between actual and budget, we only need to see the profit and loss account. So guess what? I'm going to select only the profit and loss accounts over here, just like in Excel. So no BS over there. Also, I found out that there were no records for December 2017. December 2017 were always empty. So let's leave 2017 December out of the whole range. So no December 2017. As you can see, every step of the way will then be noted down here on the right-hand side. And you can also see what the equivalent statement is in the language M. Here in this case, it tells you equals table.select rows. Yeah, that's right. Opening square brackets, opening brackets, and then hashtag expanded data level. That's the name of the previous step. And then comma, and you can see each, and then type equals PNL, and the date does not equal hashtag date 2017 12/1. Oh, so it's something that this language M has written for us automatically. We can already understand what it says. Okay, so now it's almost done. Well, not quite clear because we're not there yet. We have the problem that the turnover is negative and the costs are positive. Well, if you want to have a nice view later on, we should have the turnover as positive numbers and the cost as negative numbers. So how do we do that? Well, we can build an extra column and write a small if then else statement in Power Query. Something to the like of if the sign equals -1, then take the amount and multiply by sign. Otherwise, or else, take the amount times -1. So how do we get to that new column then? Well, add column, custom column, and let's call that one then actual. And we type if then else statement. All the if then else statements you have to write with small letters. So if, and then we click on sign over here, double click. If sign equals -1, then take the amount, double click, times sign, double click, space for else, take the amount, times -1. No syntax errors have been detected, so probably that one will be accepted. Click on OK. And sure enough, we see a new column appearing called actual. Let's have a look. Turnover is now positive. Let's go down below, and the costs are negative. Well, we have achieved our goal. ABC123 on the actual, change it into decimal number. Okay, now we're almost done, but now we're going to select the columns that we need for our analysis. We will need, do we need account number? No. Account description? No. Date? Yes, we need that one. Amount? No. Level? Yes. Type? No. Sign? No. Actual? Yes. But of course, we can get rid of the columns that I don't want to have. So, and then remove. But there's an easy way. Select home, and then go to manage columns. Choose columns, and then let's click now on date, level, and actual. Click on OK, and there it is. Done. So this has been transformed now to the higher level. It would be nice if data budget, by the way, would also be like the date level budget. Let's have a look at it. Well, it doesn't look like that. We need to unpivot the whole stuff. So right click over here, and then unpivot other columns. There it is. Now this will be my date, and ABC. Let's use local here again, because the stuff is coming from a different country. So let's select a date. Local will be Dutch Netherlands. Okay. So it will be date. And well, are we done now? Well, not really, because the turnover is positive and the costs are positive again. Well, actually, it should be the other way around. Well, it should be like this. Turnover should be positive and cost should be negative. So how do we get there? I think we're going to use the sign again. So we have to do some merge queries and get the data level in and have level talking to level. Selection matches. So now I can open this here and show me the sign. Aha. So now I can build a new column like with an if then else statement, like if sign equals -1, take the value. Otherwise, take the value times -1. Okay, so add a column, custom column. We call that budget. So if spacebar, the sign, double click, equals -1, then spacebar, take the value, spacebar else, take the value, times -1. Okay, no syntax errors have been detected. Let's have a look. The turnover is positive, the costs are negative, so we have achieved our goal. ABC123 becomes then a decimal number. We don't need all of the columns, so transform or all. Choose columns over here, choose columns. And we want to keep level, date, and budget. And those are the ones. Now, almost done. Now, I'll show you not only then the method of using Power Query. In this case, we're not going to use Power Pivot because Power Query has already been able to help you in this matter. We have to build a new table where we have to stack data actual onto data budget. But to do so, we have to first add a new column over here. Otherwise, we don't know which one is actual, which one is budget. So add new column here. Let's call that one type. And we quotation mark, we tell this it will be actual. Okay. And the formatting will be text. Same we'll do with data budget. I will add a new custom column. That one will be also type. And we call that budget. Now, we now have to make this also the text. So we have two tables, data actual, data budget, with the same number of columns, level, date, budget type. And the other one is date, level. Well, maybe you can have level as first column. Okay, then we have level, date, actual, and type. Well, we can stack them into one big column, one big table, but the only thing is you have to have the same headers, same formatting. And as we can see, we have actual over here, budget over there. So let's change this actual here into amount. And data budget also, level, date, which says budget also into amount. So now they have the same headers, same formatting, and now we can stack them onto each other. How to do that? Home, combine, append queries as new. Okay, so how many do you want to concatenate or stack them onto each other? It will be the data actual onto the data budget. Okay, and now we have one big table. Let's check it out. Actual budget, that's right. Let's give the better name. Let's call it, for example, total data. And that's the one we are going to use now in Excel. Close and load to, close and load to dot, dot, dot. And then let's say only create connection, for example, now. And you can see on the right-hand side, my total data and all the other ones are coming in as well. But if you want to create a pivot table on total data, very simple, right click now, load to dot, dot, dot. I want to create a pivot table report, new worksheet, okay. And let's have the level there. Let's have the type of the columns and the amount over there. And we can see already some things happening here. So let's choose design. Let's right click on one of the columns here. Number formatting, counting, 0 decimals, default layout, table form. We don't want to see the grand totals, so grand totals on for columns only, like that. Okay, fine. And now we need to know the difference between actual and budget. For this to happen, you have to put your mouse in the header, not over here, but in header. Then you go to the pivot table, analyze, to the field item sets, calculated field or item. It will be an item. What's the name of the item? It's called variance. Variance. And what's the formula then? Equals 0? No, equals actual, insert item, minus budget, insert item, press OK, and there we have it. Well, and you are in sequence, you can, well, also do it yourself, like, okay, let's put this as number 1. So this will be number 1, and the cost of sale will be number 2. So you can do it yourself, the order sequence, etc. But there you have it. But then, of course, this is for which period? This is for all the periods. So if you want to see it for one particular period, no problem. Pivot table analyze, insert timeline, goes to the timeline. It's only one column called date, and there it is. And we have our date line next to it. And now I can select, for example, July 2018, and there we have the numbers for 2018 or August. So people ask me how many formats did I create? Well, as you can see here, we don't have any formats whatsoever here in the pivot table. 0 formulas. How many formats did we create Power Query? Well, maybe the if then else. Okay, maybe 2 formulas then. And as you can see, the rest is only Power Query stuff. So if they're going to change the data is not going to be changing next month, and then we only have to do data, refresh all, and we have the new data in here. That's it. So as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, we can have a lot of advantage and a lot of time in our hands to do more analysis and helping our managers get to the right decisions, and by using the right tools over here. So I think I'm almost now to the end of my presentation. Yes, I am. So are there any questions? Please let me know. Otherwise, you can write me an email, a.de.jonker@kpenmail.nl. I'm gladly then to help you out if you have any questions whatsoever.
Thank you, Tony. There has just been one that's come in, if you want me to run through that for you.
Okay, sure.
Yes. Do you have any advice to help identify when you should use Power Query versus Power Pivot versus vanilla?
Yes. Well, actually, in this case, Power Query was already enough because we have let's say, 2 data sets. But if you have a bigger data tables, maybe Power Pivot is even more versatile because you can do more data calculation. Like you want to compare this year with last year, you use DAX formulas on that matter, and that's a little bit more difficult to do if you have only the Power Query. So for the more professional models, I would even recommend then Power Pivot as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which are the same steps basically if you're doing that in Power BI. In Power BI, you also do Power Query and Power Pivot as well.
I think that answers it very well. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much, people. And I want to say thank you and God bless you and have a good day.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. I've put the feedback link up on screen now. So if anyone wants to leave some feedback, as always, that'd be appreciated.